What if I told you that you could take your business from 0 to 6 figures in 3 months? That's exactly what I did, and probably not how you think. Now, my previous businesses I built using deal sites and Amazon, and this time around I'm building my business on Shopify, and in 3 months I did 6 figures. You might be feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you don't know how you're going to sell your product, but there is a simple step-by-step formula, and I'm going to share all of those steps with you today. But be sure and stick around until step 5. That one's by far my favorite, and of course I'm saving it till the end, but that step will completely change your business. I had 0 followers on social media when I started. I had not done any market testing. I had 0 email subscribers, and here are my analytics from September 15th, 2023 to December 15th, 2023. Pretty cool. I built my Shopify store, I jumped in with both feet, and I never looked back. Before we dive in, I'm Holly, and I love building e-commerce brands, and I love sharing and helping others with what I've learned in my 10 years of doing e-commerce. I've grown 2 7-figure businesses and am currently growing a third to 7 figures. If you want more information on how I got my start, be sure and check out the first part of my 5-part series, Growing Multiple 7-Figure Businesses, and this will give you a little more insight into how I got started. Let's talk about how I grew my current business to 6 figures in 3 months. So I've mentioned in previous videos that my business is a seasonal business. So that is why my analytics are from last September through December. I'm currently getting my business ready, and I'll launch my seasonal products again this September 2024. So that is why I don't have analytics from January until September of 2024. So right now I currently have about a 3-month selling period for my products. Now, starting in 2025, I'll have a year-round business. Again, you can listen to some of my past videos to kind of get the history on why I'm doing this seasonal business right now. But in essence, I have 3.5 months to sell as much product as I possibly can last year and this year. Last year was the very first year that I launched my business, and that's when I did 6 figures in 3 months, and I'm definitely hoping to double or triple that number this year. Okay, let's dive into these steps. All right, step 1 in building my brand was boosting posts on Instagram. This is a controversial one, I know. A lot of people don't understand why people waste money on boosting posts. Now, I had a very specific reason for why I did this, and it definitely worked. I started out with 0 followers on any social media platforms. I've built a previous home decor business, but I sold that business, so therefore I wasn't able to use any emails, any contacts I had from that business. So I had to start this one from scratch again. With my business being a seasonal business, I had received all of my samples and a lot of my product in July, but I didn't have all of my products. So I had all my samples, but not the whole bulk product that I needed to sell. I definitely knew that my window was going to be tight for selling, so I started taking all of my pictures in July and getting everything ready to go. And by the end of July, I started boosting posts, and I did this just to get some social following, some social presence. I also did this to test out some images and see what people's responses were to my product. I knew I wouldn't be able to start selling until probably the 1st to middle of September. So I used this 2-month time period to really post some quality pictures and reels and start getting feedback from real potential customers. Getting those first few followers on any platform is definitely the hardest part. I'm finding that out again on YouTube as we speak. So those first few followers are always the hardest to gain. And once you gain those, it really starts to snowball. So I put out some really quality reels and pictures and just started getting feedback. And very quickly, I started getting likes and follows off of those boosted posts. Now, this did 2 things for me. This gave me social proof. So a lot of people started following, therefore more people would start following. The second thing it did was start to show me what types of products would probably be my best sellers. I made sure when I was posting these pictures that I was putting out a wide variety of products that I would be selling. And very quickly, I realized what would be my top sellers in this brand. By the time my product arrived, I really had this all figured out, and it also really benefited me to boost posts because it gave me insight into the types of pictures that people were resonating with. And I then used those pictures pictures and put them into Facebook and Instagram ads. And that gave me a real jump start on getting a higher ROAS on my ad spend. The second step I took in marketing my business was running Facebook and Instagram ads. Meta ads were definitely the #1 driver of sales in my business. As soon as I got my product in, I started testing ads. And keep in mind, I already had those winning images from boosting posts. So instead of spending $5 a day, I started out with 3 to 4 ads, and I did $15 a day on each of those ads. I knew those pictures were already resonating with customers, and I knew that I could get a high return on ad spend with those images. Once I had clear winners, I started scaling those ads and adding new ones. And I got to the point where I was spending $200 to $300 a day on ads, and my ROAS, or return on ad spend, in the peak of my season was averaging 8x. I was very happy with those results. Towards the end of the season, the ROAS dropped a little bit to a 5x average, but still overall really great. I definitely am probably a little bit of an outlier here when I'm running ads, because a lot of people think that a 2x or 3x ROAS on ads is great, and it is, don't get me wrong. You're still getting $2 for every dollar you spend, or $3 for every dollar you spend, but I really like to make sure that my ads are dialed in and I am getting as high of ROAS as possible. I usually do not keep a 2x ROAS. I'll shut those ads off. Sometimes I'll even turn off a 3x and just work at scaling the ones that are really working. I definitely believe in getting the most out of the money that you're spending on ads, so that's why I use this method. Last year, I actually started to run out of products, so I couldn't scale my ads as hard and fast as I wanted to. I had to actually slow them down and stop adding ad spend to them and stop doing new ads because my product started to run out. And last year, my test was really to see how far into the Christmas season I could sell my products. And now this year, I'm going to test how hard and fast I can push my ads and how fast I can sell out, because that's going to give me a really good indication of what I can order in next season and how much more I need to order in. So I'm really excited to try this experiment this year, and that's the thing. Don't be afraid to play around and test some different things out. So Facebook ads were really crucial for me last year in sales, but I don't like to have all my eggs in one basket. So this year I'm going to test out Pinterest more, TikTok, and hopefully get into some Google ads also. If you're interested though in seeing my exact Facebook process, just be sure and comment below. I'm happy to break down exactly what I did to target my customers and break down my ROAS for you and kind of show you the back end of my Facebook ads that I ran. I mentioned not putting all of my eggs in one basket. So the third step that I used in marketing my products is to use influencers. This has been a massive addition to all of my businesses. I'm not talking about finding big influencers and paying them to promote your products. I have never paid an influencer to post any of my products. I've always reached out to micro influencers. These are influencers who maybe have around 10 to 30,000 followers. And this is really the sweet spot that you're going to want to look at. Now you can go a little bit lower than 10,000, you can go higher than 30,000, but I don't recommend paying anyone to post pictures or reels of your products. I always do an exchange. I will send them out free product in exchange for them posting. This has worked great for all of my businesses, and I've continued to use it in this current business that I'm doing. The key to finding good micro influencers is to really dive into their content. So I take some time and really research these influencers before I start working with them. And you want to make sure that the influencer is engaged back with them. These are the best influencers that I've found to work with. Once I've found about 10 influencers that I think I want to work with, I start following their content, and as I see posts that interest me, I make sure and comment on that post under my business name on Instagram. I like to make sure that they start kind of seeing my business name. Maybe they're clicking on it to see what it's all about. I'll do this for 2 to 3 times. Now, make sure that when you're engaging that you're actually being genuine. I never go on and just make a comment to make a comment. I want to work with influencers that I genuinely like and I enjoy their content. I've built some really incredible relationships with influencers and I've become friends with quite a few. So you definitely want this first interaction to be a genuine interaction. Once you've commented a few times on their page, I like to reach out to them however they say that they like to be reached out to. So if you look in their bio, they usually have email or DM me for inquiries, something like that. So I always use that method first, and I reach out to all the influencers at once. I use a simple template that I've made for emailing these influencers. I change it slightly for each one, obviously adding their name, and also I usually include a comment about a post that I liked on their page or why I think their followers would like my product. Don't get discouraged if you don't hear back right away or you don't hear back at all. What I'll usually do is I'll usually contact each influencer twice. I will go by the method that they prefer. And if I don't hear back, I'll use the opposite method. So if I DM them first, then I'll try to find their email address and email them, vice versa. If I don't hear back after 2 times, I usually move on, and that's only because there's so many people out there. You don't need to get hung up on a few people not responding to you. I've reached out to 10 influencers before and had 2 respond to me. So don't get discouraged by this. There's plenty of people out there who will love to sell your product if you're selling a high quality product. I've even started getting my product into other influencers, and then the influencers that I originally messaged come back and ask me to start promoting my products. So it can be a full circle moment there. Don't get hung up if they don't respond to you immediately. Eventually you'll have an overflow of influencers that are wanting to sell your product. And I've actually gotten to the point where I've had to turn influencers down because I'm running short on product or we've sold out of something. So don't be nervous if you're not getting a ton of influencers right away. That will definitely grow as your business continues to grow. I did have a little bit of an issue with this business and using influencers. I obviously sell a seasonal product, Christmas product, so I sent out the product to the influencers in September, and they didn't end up posting about the product until some of them the middle of November. And by this point, I was sold out of quite a few of the items that I had sent them, and a lot of my best sellers were gone. So when you're reaching out to influencers, don't be afraid to ask some questions. If you have questions about when they're gonna post or what they're gonna post, it's definitely good to have this information. Step 4 is one that I didn't see coming, but it's one of my favorites, and it grew my business exponentially, and that is building community. I made the time to respond to every DM, every comment on a Facebook or Instagram ad. I commented to everything, I responded to everyone, and as I responded, they engaged more. They engaged more on my posts, on my Facebook ads. They were just a champion for my products. Now, how many times have you seen a Facebook or an Instagram ad and there's hundreds of comments? It definitely piques your interest to that product, right? That's exactly what happened to me. The more I engaged with my followers and my customers, the more they engaged on everything I posted. And I was getting to the point where I had hundreds of comments on Facebook ads, and that would just generate even more comments and more interest. It got to the point where potential new customers would actually be asking some of my current customers about my products, and then my current customers would respond to them, and that would get me more sales from new customers. It was really a fun cycle to watch. And all of this happened because they loved my products, and I also became friends with a lot of them. It always made me so happy when loyal customers would respond to potential new customers, and seeing that interaction and seeing how it made my brand grow. I was just really proud of what I had built, and I just continued to cultivate those relationships. And the more that you do that, the more your brand is going to grow. I always wonder why I see these Facebook ads where the owners of the business, they don't have anyone responding. So there's all these questions in the Facebook ads and no one responds. And that's a huge red flag to me. So make sure you're on your ads responding, make sure you're on your posts responding, make sure you're in your DMs responding. This is going to grow your business so much faster. The other thing that would happen occasionally is I would get a negative comment on one of my ads. And usually this would be about the price of one of my items. And my current customers would let that person know that the price was absolutely worth it. And that was really cool to see. Building those relationships also grew my text list exponentially. These customers would tell their family, tell their friends, they would sign up for my text list. And when you're getting ready to launch a product, there is nothing better than having a huge text list. All of my product launches were high 5-figure launches because of this exact reason. This was all from building and engaging with customers. And I know that this can take a lot of time out of your day, but it is so worth it. Normally what I would do is I would take 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at noon, 10 minutes at night, and I would go into DMs, post, Facebook ads, and just make sure I was responding to all of those. Now, I had someone else in my business doing customer service, and that was huge. I never liked doing customer service. I would always take any negative comments to heart, and it just was not a great space for me to be in. So I stuck to the DMs, the Facebook ads, and Instagram, Facebook posts. And you would be surprised at how many people get a kick out of talking to the owner of the business. I mean, I had so many customers tell me that they felt like they were talking to a celebrity, which is hilarious, but it meant so much to them to know that they were talking to the actual owner of the business. And this definitely cultivated relationships and had them coming back to my business over and over. We made it to step 5, and this is my favorite step in this process. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you probably know this, but step 5 is bundling. I have another video on bundling that I'll link at the end of this video. And if you haven't watched that video, be sure and go watch that. It will definitely change your business. Other than Facebook ads, if you took everything away, bundling would be the superpower I would choose to keep for marketing. It's that important. I always get asked how I separate myself in a saturated market with my products, and bundling is the answer. And community's next, but let's talk about bundling now. Okay, I'm gonna use a random example. I love 𝐤𝐥𝐤𝐞, and we all know that they're super popular right now. So when you think about selling something for a 𝐤𝐥𝐤𝐞, most people probably think about selling the extra containers that you use to store the creamies in the freezer. If you go on Amazon and look, there are thousands of 𝐤𝐥𝐤𝐞 containers. So you would probably never think about selling this item, but I'm gonna share with you exactly how I would sell this item if I were going to do it. Now, if you know anything about 𝐤𝐥𝐤𝐞s, you take the base and mix it up in this container. Most people normally use a handheld frother. Then you put it in the freezer, you take it out, you mix it up, add your mix-ins, and then you eat it. So when you look at Amazon, you'll see that the majority of people are selling just the containers. You'll see a few spoons and ice cream scoops thrown in here and there, but most of the time it's just the containers. Now, what you also see when you scroll through is everyone is making the same containers, which means they've found one supplier and they're just getting the exact same container and selling them on Amazon just like everyone else. So this becomes a price game at this point, and eventually you're gonna be making pennies on the dollar. There is absolutely nothing that stands out when you scroll through this page. All right, so here's what I would do if I was selling 𝐤𝐥𝐤𝐞s. I would scroll down to the comments and look at the likes and dislikes. I would see exactly what people are saying about the containers. That's the first step that I would look at in changing something on the containers. Maybe the lids aren't staying on tight. There's things that they are not gonna like, and there's things that they're really gonna like. I would guess that a lot of these listings have the same comments. I would then create a container based off of this list. And I would most definitely change the color of the lid. Look at what would happen on this page if you just changed the color of the lid slightly. How much would that stand out from all of these other listings? The next thing I would do is look at how to bundle this product. What could I add to this product that would make it stand out, give it a higher profit margin, and drive sales to my product? There's definitely a few different directions you could go here, so let's take a look at some options. All right, the first idea that I have is that no one has figured out how to label these containers, and this is mind-blowing to me, but as far as I've seen, there are no containers that are either pre-labeled or come with labels. When you're putting this in the freezer, how do you know what base is in it? I mean, yes, you can tell if it's vanilla or chocolate, but a lot of times I will do like a cake batter base or a peanut butter chocolate base, and you have no idea what are in those bases when you put them in the freezer. So a few options: you could include some labels that people could write on to stick on the lids. You could include a label maker so they can make their own labels, Or you could have containers custom made with labels already pre-printed on the lids or on the containers. If you pre-printed them on the lids, you could have them say vanilla, chocolate, cake batter, peanut butter chocolate. You could do a wide variety of lids to go on these containers. And if they're pre-printed, that would definitely make them stand out more. Another great idea for adding to this bundle is a hand mixer. No one on this page is including a hand mixer with their creamy containers. Let's take this one step further. I know after I make my creamy, I usually just eat it right out of the container. But what happens to your hands when you're eating out of this cold container that just came out of the freezer? Your hands are freezing, right? So why not think about making some sleeves for these containers? Now I know there's a few people that are doing this, but it's definitely not a saturated market. You could even do some cool seasonal prints on the sleeves. You could have Christmas ones, summer ones, one for every season. There's a wide variety of options you could do for these sleeves. But wait, there's more. What if you included a high quality recipe book for 20 different Ninja Creamies? You could have recipes and really high quality pictures for each one. Everything in this book that you need to know on making a creamy. And this would be super simple now with AI, with ChatGPT. You can go on Pinterest. There's a wide variety of places that you can find these recipes, or maybe you've created your own. So now you're making it easier for people to create their own creamies and telling them exactly what they need for each recipe. Let's talk about the last step in the process that I would do if I was bundling this product. What if you took all of these items and you created a fun custom box? And inside the box were 4 creamy containers, maybe 4 to 8 pre-printed lids, a hand mixer, 4 creamy sleeves, and a recipe book. Amazing, right? And do you see anyone doing this? Definitely not. This would totally set you apart in this saturated market. Okay, the great part about this is not only would people buy it for themselves, but what a great gift to give. I would love receiving a gift like that. Think of a wedding gift. If someone was receiving a creamy machine for their wedding, and then this was an add-on that someone could give them. There's so many options. This would be a great Christmas gift. So now you've opened up a whole other category, a gift giving category. This is that simple, just like this. You just have to think outside the box a little bit on what would set your products apart. This is how I grew all of my businesses to 7 figures. This is your key to setting yourself apart in a saturated market. And if 2 people are posting Facebook ads on Ninja Creamy containers, which post do you think someone's gonna click on? Are they gonna click on a post that has just the 4 containers that everyone is selling on Amazon? Or are they gonna click on a post with a gorgeous box filled with all of these unique items to upgrade their Ninja Creamy experience? I know which ad I'm clicking on. All right, there you have it. These are the 5 steps I've used in every single one of my businesses to grow my businesses and market my products and set my products apart from any competition. It's a very simple step-by-step process and you can use it to sell any products. I hope you found this helpful, and please be sure and leave any comments below on anything you'd like to hear more about or any questions that you have.